Good evening and welcome to Edessa the Dark Crusade. Tonight we have another time, another scene in this very hampered and well this city on edge, this hampered and tied down city. The night is filled with military men locking down the city, making sure that no one gets out and around. Well, they try to. And as such, most of the kindred seem to have a bit of a hard time doing their nightly chores. But during the day, a letter, an invitation, has been sent out to a neonate of Clan Sombra to just swing by if he has the opportunity, the means to look by. From Madeline.
Oh, yes. Memnon would have taken this invitation with much seriousness and much delight, even in face of the dangers and trepidations of journeying to her haven. Um, Memnon would have may have taken a little bit of his little bit of time to arrive, but he made his progress slow through the back alleys, waiting for the right opportunity to cross into darkened alleys, evading the military that are patrolling the streets of Odessa at this moment. Um, I vaguely remember the layout of your haven. So when Memnon arrives, I think he would try to announce himself as quietly as possible, as not to draw any attention.
Oh, it will
So,
be stated in
okay.
the letter um, that not only will there be at the entrance there will be not a fortification but a like some sort of boarding up, or it's harder to access, but he is instructed as to how to enter. There will be a way to enter. It will not be immediately apparent to anyone who is not informed beforehand. But yes, there will be an opening, and he will also be instructed to just knock on the front door.
Very well. Complying with the orders in this message. Yeah. Madeline or whomever answers her door would hear a knock.
And, I don't know. Is Torvald standing by the door, or does he answer the door, or will he let Guthrie do it?
Um, Thorval would do it.
All right.
Um, he's usually around the courtyard. He moves a series of bolts and stuff to open this gate. Peers it open enough to see who's there, sees that it's Memnon, and opens the gate for him to come in.
Um, when you open the gate, Memnon, I wouldn't say he's surprised, but you see that he is glad to see you, Thorvald. He will just thank you for giving him entrance.
Thorvald smiles, genuinely, which is a rare thing. Welcome, my friend. Please. I believe Madeline is inside somewhere, likely in her study.
Thank you for receiving me. Out of character, was there anything in the message Like was the invitation stated as like an emergency or just leisurely kind of?
Um, bit of uh, it was stated in right roughly to a conversation about current affairs and ongoing business.
Okay.
So a mixture of things, but definitely not a like alert in any way.
Okay. Okay. Then as Memnon is I would believe Thorvald's guiding him.
So we'll just sort of walk with you. There's quite a lot of dogs around. You'll notice. Um,
They
you,
they Memnon possesses the inoffensive to animals, so they might not.
yeah, they. I mean, Octavius Thorwald's hound, which you know of. None of the dogs seem to be. They watch you, but they don't seem to be offended or um disturbed by your presence. It seems they're used to being around Canaanites. But there's quite a lot of them. um,
So,
yeah. You gather it'd probably be quite difficult to sneak in here unnoticed.
fair assessment. Memnon would ask Thorvald, how have you been faring since this occupation? He stresses that kind of that metaphor.
Uh, I've had to do as I must to feed, which is a chore, really. Um, Animals are not my first choice, but this curfew has made it exceptionally difficult to move anywhere in the city without notice. I gather you would have more ease than I would. My mm, my stature brings me a lot of attention.
Well, I am perhaps more commonly in appearance, but I do have my drawbacks that make feeding its own difficulty.
Thord opens the door that leads into um, the study where Madeline usually entertains guests or is during the waking hours of the day. He opens the door and sort of stands beside it, almost as if he's a servant. It's like he falls into a routine for a minute.
As the door opens, you will just hear from inside. Oh, please, come in, the both of you. And she gets up, comes over. Oh, uh, really, not intensely, but comes over and just smiles and nods, shakes Memnon's hand. Let's just say, it was good that you could come. It is not everyone who would brave the streets these nights. Well, at least not for something that is not an immediate concern. But there are certain things I think we should discuss. And she gestures over to the seats.
Thorvald looks, says, if you have clan business, I can busy myself elsewhere.
I am okay if he stays. She looks to Memnon.
Memnon looks at Thorvald and then back at Madeleine. He just shrugs. I am a guest in your house. It is up to you what company you wish to keep and what conversations you wish to include them with.
Anyway, she smiles to Torvald. Doesn't seem to dismiss him in any way. Just sits down.
He comes in, he closes the door behind him. Sort of stands by the door for the moment.
So, what do you make of this most recent development in our fair city?
To say it is troublesome, understatement. I'm sure everyone, well, maybe some, are finding things much more difficult to accomplish. I can tell you from my own perspective of things. It has slowed the work down in the guild's hall somewhat. There are many men who live in different parts of the city, and they are taking it with some discomfort that now their lives are divided between work and home. No nightlife or social life to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Shame.
Quite so. But as to what we have discussed, our plans, it might be an unexpected benefit, if not major one, at least a little.
Oh yes. Yes. I have well, someone in my service who am going to try to place within the daylight hours of one of these establishments, trying to extend my reach beyond the grasp of the night. Hopefully, I can direct business by night with the men in my guild who are making their stay at the hall to direct their attentions towards that establishment. It is a meager place, somewhat small, family owned, but I say that what they need are very wealthy would be easy to say, but they need true friends, patrons, patronage, yes, from the likes of ours.
I would agree with you. But they could all, I do not see that it would in the long run harm them if this hardship of pressing of coin were to go on a little bit further. It might make them more amenable to outside investments or, what shall we say, changes.
Oh, indeed. Why, if there were some minor modifications we were able to provide that would facilitate rooms where men could stay during the night, spending their hard-earned coin in their establishment, it would be much, much more accommodating.
If only we had started this plan earlier.
Yes, but perhaps this will test our mettle. And, well, at the very least, we could enact our machinations with not too much worry that outside competition will be competitive, to say the least.
Hmm.
They have more on their own plates to be concerned about than our trifling with a bar.
Quite so. Hmm. Did you know of this before it happened? Have you heard any whispers of it?
I did. I had well, I do have a friend within the City Watch. He was concerned that there might be a military occupation, although I thought that he only meant within Riverside. Wouldn't imagine that this would be citywide.
Well, it would only be the ruling classes that would be able to move these things in such a way. And since it seems that some people are not really disturbed that much by the city watch, I would say that some are able to influence at least the guards on the street, which means that there are people, which I know of, that would be able to perhaps influence some of these people. The question is who they are and why anyone who would share the blood of us would think that this was a good idea in any way.
Hmm. Competition, maybe? Maybe they fare better with everyone in their respective havens.
Hmm.
Not everybody is restricted.
So, who would benefit the most from that is the question.
That is a question indeed. We met two quite lovely Assamites.
The one makes a snorting sound. A scoffing sound. When she says lovely.
They seemed, well, I know of one of them, and I think I've met the other one before, maybe seen her in passing, but their clan is quite agreeable to me, I must say. But, well,
The
I
way
shouldn't.
the way they treat their women or seem to is not agreeable to me. But then we had a personal difference about that last evening.
And it is not the only time you have expressed such.
George, he
Not
doesn't
about
shrug,
the
he doesn't shrug
Assamites.
his shoulders, but he kind of like, well, yeah.
Memnon's just looking between the two of you in these back and forth comments like I'm missing something, but okay.
This Assamite that we met, his companion, his female companion, was in the grips of starvation.
Definitely seemed like it.
His companion was of us, or
Yes.
Oh, yes. The same clan.
The logic behind walking around starving during a curfew completely eludes me. If I was sheriff, I would have it banned.
It does present a volatile situation.
Hungry canites are dangerous canites. The slightest provocation. I've seen many disturbing sights.
That is all true. But nothing too significant or too dramatic has happened as of yet. However, if it did, sure, it would reflect bad on the clans, but would it not also present a problem for our new dear prince?
It presents a problem for all of us. If a canite becomes hunger frenzied and goes on a killing rampage, rips someone's throat out and gorges on them in the middle of the street.
I know too lot, but she smiles. That was not my intent of the question. What if a new prince takes over and someone decides to teach her humility? Or statuate an example, or whatever? Would that be likely?
I I don't think personal religions and the well-being of our kind as a whole should intersect.
No, this is nothing of that kind. It is politics, the lifeblood of our kind. They simply wish to test her grip on the city. It could be likely that they want to try to make her seem incapable of controlling the city.
I see what you mean, Madeleine.
It
The
is a
person
possibility.
who. You think that the person who orchestrated this
People.
provocation.
This was more than one.
How are you sure that it's more than one?
As far as I know, well, I know for a fact that Gerard has pull within the military. And he would not likely have abandoned the part of the farmlands that he has acquired from some Salupri not too long ago. But now he has been forced to. Forces there have been moved into the city. That means that either one person had enough or was daring enough to challenge Gerard, or it is more than one person willing to, well, capable of taking quite a lot of the most influential people in the city to come around to seeing it in the lens of the only thing that was to be happening was to use all available military forces to cleanse the city of criminality.
I still don't understand why.
As you said, more and more, I mean, it could be a most um, I mean, for the most people, I would think it would be quite a worthy sacrifice that some would breach the silence and some would go hunger frenzy for weakening well, a prince's newly claimed domain to claim it for themselves 50 years from now.
But what we must ask is what does this person or persons get out of this? How does it serve their interests? I mean, think about it. They are equally in as much danger of frenzying out of hunger in the public streets, unless, of course, they are most secured with, let's say, perhaps their own stocks of.
Or they have enough say so they can walk around relatively unbothered by the military, like our two Assamites. They seem to be able to walk where they wanted, without any trouble, really.
Hmm.
If that was the case, they would have the freedom that no one else in the city have. Freedom to visit your herds relatively unchallenged or unscathed.
I feel if 100 years or 1,000 years of my life, I still don't think I'll ever understand these games.
Hmm. I mean, it is something of an overreach, isn't it? Was there so much crime in the rest of the city? I was only concerned. I had only thought Riverside would present us a problem.
Hmm.
Hmm. An overreaction, perhaps. It could be both. I do not know for sure. But it
I
is
mean,
a question.
it is logical to think that if people control the military, then there may be some Canaanites that control the gangs, and perhaps this is a particular battle between two people using the city as a playing board. I've seen that before.
Robbing us of great opportunities. I
I,
had. Go on, Natalie.
well, I just hope that they are not found out that they have played such a game within another's domain, causing this much trouble. Well, unless, of course, they have the princess backing and she does not care, but I do not see that as very likely. I see her as quite concerned of this, or at least I think she should be.
Has the prince made any formal proclamation concerning this curfew?
Not that I am aware of.
Everyone's keeping fairly close-lipped on the matter.
Quite so. I hope to speak to Irene. Some of the noble houses must be involved in this. Unless she is in contact with some of these people.
I'll speak to my sire if she will see me. She may have a grasp of what's going on. For all her flaws, and she has many, but for all her flaws, she is a practical woman at heart. I very much doubt she's enjoying this either.
Hmm.
She might be enjoying. She might have freedom in her own scape, but she can, as a gangrel, she can see the bigger picture, the survival picture.
Hmm. I still think it is very likely that some is, if they have intended it to go this far, if there is anyone directing this, it could be to harm the prince, but then again, I do not know for certain. Regardless,
Like,
however,
again, it's kind of like a an abstract way to go about harming the prince, because really the prince is not involved in this. It's just everybody else
Do
eventually
we
getting to the
know that
stage.
she is not involved?
Well, let's. I don't. If she is involved, why? Why would you want to destabilize your own domain?
I would think a wise prince would at least give her citizens a forewarning of things to come, preparing one's needs.
Hmm. That is all true.
Why would you want to make your courtiers unhappy? Why would you want to make restrictions on their movement and discourage?
Which is why I think it is a test of her. Again, I have not much to base it on, but
A very Thor just sort of he walks over to the table. Not he doesn't march over the table like it's not a sudden movement. He sort of walks over to the table and he's just like I do not understand this, my friends. He says, "Here is a book on the table. I want it." He picks up the book. I take it.
You see Memnon smile at that. He actually points out to Thorvald, and that is the kind of thinking we need. These games, they do more harm than they're worth. What is the motivation? Is it
Petty squabbles. Take
if
them.
it
If people have issues, let them hash it out.
if it is as Madeleine suggests, all of this is some way to test the prince. They're testing more than just the prince, whether they know it or not. If this
which
was
is
to sorry, go on.
which is why I believe it should be stopped, even though it could be profitable or improve our plans a little bit. It should be stopped sooner rather than later. I will talk to Eri and Ulrich. Hopefully, we will find a solution soon.
Meanwhile, we're stuck behind these walls with each other's company.
Hmm. Well, I hope the two of you enjoy each other's company.
Very much. Though that does bring me to something I did want to ask of you, and, well, since you are here, Thorvald, it might interest you as well. What if we were able to construct our own passageways beneath the city? Would that be an overreach? A break in some petty etiquette?
You'd
I,
have to consult with the Nosferatu, and I haven't seen any of them in some time.
I believe
Why
you
is
would
that?
quite fast come into their domain. There are already certain, well, if not
I do not
tunnels.
mean to use their tunnels. I mean to construct my own.
Hmm.
Do they have domain under everything that is beneath the streets? And you can see Memnon's like really asking, is this the case?
I'm not entirely sure of the personal agreement about the domain. Constructing these tunnels without notice would be a challenge.
Oh, I'm quite certain of that, but I think one, perhaps two, perhaps three well oiled Canaanites with an agenda and a mission can accomplish it in time. We do have time, don't we?
Well, I can agree that I'm certainly well oiled. He smiles.
Uh, do not. She just smiles at Torvald, just takes a finger up and whacks it at him.
Do not what?
Hmm.
I missed that. What did you say?
Oh, the
Peter?
innuendos.
Yeah,
She's telling him off for something.
she just says, "No, Torvald, not. You cannot talk of such things. Not yet. It is a bit too early in the evening.
I jest, my love, only.
I know, but still, we have visitors."
Who says I was talking to you?
Well,
He picks up his
I
pipe and
stand corrected.
picks up his pipe and puts it in his mouth. He's just, you can tell his demeanor is playful and not of a serious note.
Let us speak of other things than oiled men, please. And she just looks the men down, just
Mm.
in any ways.
Well, I believe we were talking about oiled canites as a general populace.
Mm.
I think
It
the plan has potential. If the curfew continues, it should be something that makes movement.
Yes, I do want to take into concern the Nosferatu. Whether we can reach, whether I could reach an agreement with them or bypass them together. If I just had knowledge of what the standard sewer systems looked like, I could, well, go around them as best as I could.
It's not even the sewers at this point. It's kind of like the catacombs.
Hmm.
I don't think there are sewers at this point.
Oh, really?
No. Sewers are very much a 19th century invention. It's kind of like stuff's floating around in the. I mean, I don't know how advanced this area of the world is, but as a general rule, it's after
It smells really bad most days.
after the Roman Empire fell, pretty much because they had
Yeah,
aqueducts.
see, I was about to say the Roman Empire had sewers. They might
Yeah,
not
they
have been
did, but that all went down
long ago.
after they lost their empire and everything like that, and had to withdraw. Everyone went back to basically living in mud huts, and chucking their excrement out of the windows, and it's very filthy.
So what you're telling me is that Odessa needs sewers?
Yeah,
I think we've got it.
I mean, Thor doesn't really have a concept of sewers. He's aware of how clean Rome used to be, but he's not an engineer. So I don't think he would make that intellectual leap. He would just say what they have is the catacombs.
Catacombs. And these catacombs are serviced by the clergy?
I think it was originally, from my own experience of it, it was what the city was originally, and then the rest of the modern city has been built on top.
So some sort of ruins.
My experience down there is limited, but from what I have seen,
But quite educational.
yes. They don't let anyone go down there without a guide. And there's areas that not even the Nosferatu venture into. They're treacherous at best. The catacombs.
Seaman unstapling his fingers, thinking, but please go on.
Tight corridors, steep falls, slippery surfaces, traps, crumbling walls, It's reasonably unstable.
Perhaps I just have a thing for danger. But I see order being brought out of chaos, possibly.
He smiles at that.
Yes. Imagine it, if you would, Madeleine. A public works going on underground, away from the sun, day and night.
Hmm. If you got the full acceptance and, well, cooperation of the Nosferatu, and perhaps the prince as well, since she would be most likely involved.
If you think that wise. You kind of see Memnon give you a smile.
Well,
I'm imagining you dutifully doing your digging below ground.
well, if something were to go wrong, and the Nosferatu were not informed, or the prince, it is her domain, and you are potentially breaching another clan's domain. Best to have cleared it before getting into trouble.
So many rules. So little time.
Quite so.
A billow of smoke emits from his pipe. He does sort of put the hashish down on the table. So he's never seen Madeline smoke, but Memnon might, as far as he knows.
Out of character, I don't think I've seen that.
Just is he offering her?
He puts like his hashish down on the table, like as if to say, sort of help yourself. He's never seen Madeline smoke, but he doesn't know that Memnon doesn't, because a lot of people do. So
I don't think I can.
you can.
Really?
Oh,
Like
I
game
mean,
mechanics?
oh, game mechanics wise, you can. Like personal perspective, I don't know.
And yeah, I guess my mom would give it a hit.
Yeah. He's just Thor smoking a pipe, but it's before tobacco was invented, so it's sort of the equivalent,
Right.
like scented, fragrant sort of herbs that you smoke, I guess.
Probably makes things smell better than the city.
Yeah, it probably does.
Madeline seems to sniff the air and just take in the smell.
The smell she'd be familiar with, and Thorvald quite often smokes, usually when he's thinking. It's a nice smell. I mean, like from what I know of it, it's actually quite pleasant. Unlike tobacco smoke, it's actually quite pleasant smelling.
Madeline will also, after a little, she will smoke as well.
So I think perhaps your next step would be to seek out the Nosferatu if you want to proceed with that plan.
You might. Alex, I'm sorry, you kind of cut in there at the last part of
Yeah,
your.
sorry, I lost you there. He says, I think what you would be best doing is seeking out the Nosferatu if you want to proceed with that plan. I found them quite amenable.
You've been down there, right, Thorvald? Perhaps you could show me the way? I would, of course, compensate you for your time.
Thor looks to Madeline.
I do not see why the two of you could not help each other.
few of the Nosferatu and I have worked together. I'm sure I could set something up.
Then I will prepare a proposal and perhaps gather some more things to bring to the table and offer.
I imagine they're suffering. They have trouble enough eating when there isn't a curfew.
We can hope that it is as I think, and that they might be, as always, capable of feeding on quite a few other things.
Mm. Or using their catacombs to move around the city, like you say. Avoided. Nosferatu are very good at hiding. And staying out of the way until they always sort of appear randomly. You never know when you're going to expect one. He smiles. He seems to talk quite fondly of the Nosferatu. Torval seems to have a bit of a liking for them.
Memnon probably is reading you with a very neutral demeanor. I don't think Memnon's really met Nosferatu yet.
You can tell Torval's a lot more relaxed in this company than when you last met him. He actually seems to be more sociable, calmer. His whole body language is a lot more, what should we say, positive, welcoming, open. Whether that's the environment or the company. Maybe a little bit of both.
I'm sorry, was that to me?
No, I was just sort of saying that, he's relaxed. He's not doing his I am Gur routine
Okay.
at the moment.
Mm. I can send word to the Nosferatu that you wish to meet them if you so wish.
I would be honored, Sister Madeleine, if you would do that for me. I would hope to bring back the kind of victory that would aid us in the future. I foresee the possibility of gaining allies to our own cause, sharing this common interest in letting the city be stable, but going amongst our business as usual. Because isn't that what our kind always wants?
It is.
In an overall sense, yes.
I believe that if we can arrange for mortals to think they are bettering themselves in some way, the opportunity for us to fulfill our needs upon them just be a matter of opportunity. Well, I think the opportunity below ground in such environments suit our needs better in that way.
Are there other things we should consider in this endeavor or related to it? Any plans of how we might affect this curfew?
There's very much about the curfew we need to learn. Who for certain has the ability to stop it? Who called interest it serves? How long it will last? The scope of it, as I've said before, boggles me, as the idea of stopping any and all crime at this point then seems, well, how does the city go back to the way it was? What's going to happen when the military can't control things?
I don't think it's personally. I don't think it's intended to be a permanent thing. I think it's a display of power, of dominance, as many things are in life. We all do these dances, except some do it more literally than others.
Perhaps it just unsettles me that there is an army within the walls.
Well, it should unsettle most people.
The worst case scenario I could imagine is that spears and swords turned against us.
That is perhaps unlikely. But what
I
I
hope so.
know, someone, or several someones, would very much be in charge of these things. And they would not know exactly where everyone lives. So they can do certain things, but that seems unlikely. Besides, the guards are not what I would call hard to see coming.
Hmm. I'm sorry, was that a question, Pete?
No, she just said she doesn't consider them to be um, hard to see coming or hard to spot if they worsened
I
towards.
think it's the way Madeline speaks sometimes. It almost sounds like she's asking a question.
I am sorry about that.
No. It's just
Okay.
it's her accent. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about
Ah,
it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thor says, "Well, unlike you, shadow cats, I'm also not hard to see coming."
boy, if I know that you were coming for me, I would be a lot more concerned than if this, she looks out a window, army was coming for me.
How are you doing anyway, Memnon? With the feeding front, are you managing to find places to go?
Well, getting back to the halls of my own haven, it's a little trepidatious, but it'll keep me sharp. Not everything needs to be easy.
Exactly.
No, I enjoy a challenge myself.
Madeline smiles.
Sometimes I do enjoy across the rooftops. It's like skipping on stones in a pond.
That is a good way to look at it.
I had to learn to dance before I could fight. So I have a certain amount of grace, but for the rooftops, I don't think they could bear this level of my weight for too long.
Not all roofs. Some would.
Huge size problem. Huge size problems. Hmm. I'm confident we can work together to make sure that we benefit from an unfortunate event.
Agreed.
Should I tell him about my little plan?
Hmm. I see no harm in it. I do not believe that that line of work and that avenue is something that Memnon is gives much thought in his day-to-day life, but
Memnon does look to Thorvald and as in with the expression that, well, he's willing to hear what you have to say.
I'm bringing myself and a few others into protecting and reinforcing the trade into some of the brothels in the city.
In what capacity? As in yourself? Muscles? Arms?
Pretty much.
Oh, you do see a smile on Memnon's face. Ah, simple business. He looks to Madeleine and says, there is something sweet in the brevity of brutality.
Well, it is a business that favors the city. It favors the pockets. And it favors a reliable feeding source.
It also does favor those who push the boundaries, those that need a stern hand kept upon them and watchful eyes. I could say that your assistance helping me in this endeavor with the Nosferatu, I could help you in your endeavor with this trade.
I would be grateful. I think it may take a more diplomatic tongue than I not to frighten the women. I've made
I'll do what I
contact.
can.
I've made contact with one. He struggles for the word. Domina. What is it in your tongue? I don't know. Madam? Proprietor? Of one of these establishments.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm not sure what the word for this time period would be, but
He's not sure. Because, like, whatever the Turkish isn't his first language. So it's like when he speaks it, which is like kind of what the lingua franca of the area is, he speaks it in kind of a broken accent. A madam essentially. He I've spoken with her. She's interested in hearing what I have to say and dealing with me. But I didn't want to overload her in one night. I've got to be careful.
So this, your approach to this matter is to be man at arms, bodyguards, or is there something or someone to deal with?
Provide them with protection from the gangs. Ensure that their business is profitable. And in return receive coin and a reliable place to feed for selective members of our society. I don't want
I think it's really...
every Tom, Dick and Harry in my patch. But a few close friends won't do any harm.
Memnon looks to Madeleine, and he would simply ask, would you have any reservations of this, sister?
Of course not. I see it as a good way to expand one's reach in more than one way.
My brother Erdin, he wants me to... His designs last night was to encourage me to become hound. Or a hound.
Is that something you desire?
I don't desire to work underneath Gerard.
I think I had offended the prince when I questioned what proximity would bring me away from my forge.
And I managed to at least study most of that perceived insult. But well,
Oh, of course, Sister Madeleine. Thank you. I am indebted to you for it. Memnon looks at Thorvald. I myself am not one for pretty words, though I did not mean to insult the prince. Simply, I find myself better suited as smith than that is.
well, the two of you can work closer. I believe the two of you would make an excellent team as hound.
Maybe we can bring enforcement where Sir Gerard's pretty words fail him.
He has words. None of them are pretty.
Too many words.
You do realize that Gerard is one of the more concrete and least talkative venture I have ever met, right?
I don't like his manner.
Of course you don't.
He shoots Madeleine a look.
She just smiles.
Well, I would serve to help this city with a title or with not. It doesn't take much wisdom to see that caring for your neighbors does ensure your own haven's maintenance as well.
And we are on the same page on that. Which is what I was trying to explain to our Assamite friends yesterday evening to little effect.
Was this Assamite some vagrant?
Hmm. Can't comment. He knew my tongue, which is interesting. Not many of this particular land are familiar with Old Roman tongue. So he's obviously a man of intelligence, despite his demeanor.
Perhaps, from what I have seen of him, he has always seemed like a cultured person.
Hmm. I'm glad I didn't say anything something more insulting. Or maybe I'm not.
Well, you will have your chance soon enough. If that is truly your will, I would perhaps challenge you to not to stave your words. Maybe that would be a challenge for you.
Hmm. It's always been my challenge.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, dear sister, you've removed some of my chains. Chains broken are not easily rewound.
Hmm. There are chains, and then there are ways to make your life a lot easier for yourself. I would not necessarily say that the two are the same.
He sort of gesticulates with his hand in the air. And who says that I'm here for an easy life?
Hmm.
I do as I will, and my will is must.
Oh, I must apologize, Memnon. We are not very good hosts. We seem to ignore you. I must apologize.
Out of character, it's fine. And Memnon will just shrug a wave off hand. I mean, if you notice, Memnon does look, I suppose, just entertained by the two of you.
Bickering.
Yes.
It happens. But I hear you. I will keep my tongue firmly placed behind my teeth when dealing with the Assamites. For now.
Hmm. Well, Memnon, do you have any other plans for tonight? I do not wish to keep you if you have things you must see to.
Hmm. With this current curfew, it's been hard to get new orders. So, unless you have something around here for me to fix, he kind of looks up around at the room, or you are interested in something I can forge.
No, not at the moment. None of my. And she pauses, looks at him. Instruments need mending. I think I am quite fine.
And Memnon looks to Thorvald. And you, sir? Can I outfit with you with any new arms?
Unfortunately, I have not the coin to pay you.
We might be able to barter something.
I have something in mind. We can discuss it later.
Memnon nods.
Thorvald looks mischievous. Alex is tired.
Oh, Memnon, another thing before you go. Um, I know that these nights will be difficult with watch and the military so currently present, but if you do not have any other plans, have you given thought to when or how I would give you tutelage in using a sword? I did promise the prince and you to do so.
Memnon kind of cocks his head to the side. Sister, are you asking me to spend the day in your haven? Raises an
Memnon,
eyebrow.
Memnon, that was almost almost indecent.
Thor can't suppress a huge grin.
Yeah, and Madelains has a big smirk on her face. And I do believe that some people might take offense to that. I would not mind.
Memnon looks clearly confused. Well, Sister Madeleine, I would make the time to learn how to use a sword by your hand whenever you are free. And if it's the matter of where, you are always welcome to come to my haven, though it's small and perhaps not modest for a lady of your standing.
Nonsense. We can hold it at your place, no problem.
Very well. Uh, out of character, does Madeline need like a map for that?
No, I think she knows where you live. Well, she might actually need a description because I don't think she's ever been there. Now that I think about it.
Right. He'll tell you that it's at like the junction of Baldwin's Gift and the Merchants Guild on the south.
Okay.
I want to say kind of near like a south corner. Yeah.
Okay. And she just nods and says, "Well, when I get the chance, fairly soon, I will bring practice swords, or perhaps dull swords."
Whichever you, my tutor, would recommend.
Practice swords perhaps is the best to start with.
Thorvald leans forward because this is the sort of thing that interests him. He doesn't say anything, he just listens to the interchange.
I'm sorry, Pete. I did miss the last thing you said. What? Repeat that.
Oh, she just said the practice swords may be the best. But she just looks at you and just, Memnon, you are either a very good actor or, well, I must say it was humorous, but there are better ways of asking for a place in a woman's bed.
Madeline, I had probably thought your dungeon would have suited me fine.
She actually laughs. She actually laughs at that. This is,
I made her laugh.
I did not take you for that kind of person, but, I mean, who am I to judge?
Thor's like, Thor doesn't
What?
laugh. Alex finds that hilarious. Thor just sort of like he raises an eyebrow.
Memnon explains a roof from the sun is
I know.
more than enough. Like,
I
it
know.
doesn't matter where.
Your choice of words could very well be to the fact that you wanted to share my bed.
You Northerners, your way with words are so. And he like shows a balancing scale of hands. They make no sense.
Hmm. Well, apparently, I suppose, but you made a lot of sense to me, but oh well. I will know that if you were to suggest such a thing, you would use quite another bit of language. It is fine.
Uh, uh, Jesus Christ! Do you need to peony Memnon right now? Because basically, he's not touching that at all. There's no way
I
for him
know.
to like touch that whole subject.
Oh, oh, I know. Madeline
Madeline's
just
playing games.
enjoys poking at it. Just like,
Yeah.
come on, please, 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 and nothing happens. And she just, but at this time, she just nods and just says, well, I should not keep you for much longer. Of course, if you wish to stay a bit, it is totally fine.
Memnon, Memnon would say, Madeline, I am here at your anything you need of me for the rest of the evening. I would gladly do it. I would only request a place to stay from the sun for the day.
We are not in a hurry. Unless, of course, you wish to spar, that is totally fine. We can do this.
Memnon shrugs. Sure. It's been a while.
I can help as well.
Your help would be welcomed. Do you still have the armor I crafted for you? I would love to see it in action.
Yeah. I don't know how much you know about my past, but I've been a pit fighter for many years. I can teach you things. Certain northern ladies do not know.
You will just hear like a from Madeline. Show
We can.
off.
I think between us we can make a serviceable swordsman out of you.
We better be able to. Now, come. And there will be a storeroom at the more the back of Madeline's Haven. And the three will enter. And by the looks of it, it might have been used for this in the past. There isn't too much stuff here. It seems to change usage or purpose from time to time. But out of character, I don't know if anyone has anything else. But if it is okay with people, as the three will begin to practice sword play, I believe this scene will come to a close. Alright. Thank you very much, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good night.